Okay, got it.
All right, cool. All right. So as you guys, what's going on, everyone? As you can see, we do have a guest. He's, behind the camera right now. We're gonna give him a couple seconds. But as we wait, as you guys know, it's What's Up People News. It's Friday Eve, everybody. Let's go. So we're just waiting for a couple seconds. Oh, there he goes. The man himself, as you can see. We're just going to get right into it. I just want to say welcome everybody. All my usual suspects, thank you guys for tuning in tonight with me. As you guys can see, I do have a guest, and we'll get to who this wonderful gentleman is in a second. But if this is your first time tuning in, I am a local online news show. I talk about local, national, and international news. I am your host, Aaron Casey. And again, this is What's Up People News. All right, now that we got that out the way, as you can see, we have another guest with us this evening. Everybody give your round of applause to the man of the hour, Mr. Brent Hennrich. Yes, he is the man. He was on our show about almost a year ago. Not necessarily to the date, but we're in there. He is a great person, great individual. He cares about the people of Washington State, and he is running for U.S. Congress. But enough about me. We're here for him, so I will let him take it away and kind of introduce yourself. Let the people know a little bit about you. For the people who don't know who you are, if you don't mind, just giving them a little bit of that.
Well, yeah, I'm Brent Hennrich. I'm a father of 3 children and husband to an amazing wife, Amber. Currently a stay-at-home dad because I, all of the pandemic and everything, and I decided to make this run. And with that, put 100% into this run, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, and 8 hours on Sunday. So have not gone back into the workforce as far as a day job beyond this run. But, I'm just, I'm one of those people that saw enough and decided that, hey, I could only pound at my keyboard or yell at the screen so much. And so if I was going to change it, I had to go change it. So here I am running for U.S. Congress.
And that's in the last couple of people that I've interviewed have seen an issue or something that's not right, and they said, you know what, I'm gonna put my personal goals to the side, and I want to serve, I want to help the people, and that's what we need more in Congress, in the Senate, in the House, City Council, our local governments. We need people that actually understand the issues that we go through. We've tried to have the billionaire people in office. We tried the business people. That may have worked out just a little better because they kind of understand, how to organize and things like that. But what has been missing is someone that understands the people. Yourself, a couple other people I've interviewed, Reverend Jonathan Wade from Clearwater, Florida, Miss Miranda Douglas from the same area. They understand what people like me and you have gone through. They understand that, and they've seen the issues, they've seen the problem, and they stepped up to the plate. And we need more people like yourself who's doing the same thing. You've seen something that was wrong, and you said, you know what, I'm gonna step up and I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna bring my expertise and the things that I've learned over the years, to this race, to this campaign, to this wonderful state. But enough about that. Let's get right into this interview. My first question is kind of a straightforward question. Might throw you off a little bit, but let's see. Running for office in your state, what are some of the things that you will do to get the younger people involved and energized about your particular campaign?
I mean, I can give you cliche answers of, we're going to have get out the vote rallies, and we're going to, do all those things that every politician always says. I think right now we're still trying to figure some of that out. Coming off of 2020, everything everybody's been through with, 2 years of COVID so far, we're going into the third year. We have to figure some of that out, but I know that the platform I'm running on is motivating to a younger generation. As far as, things I'm running on is expanding education, climate crisis, healthcare accessibility. Those are things that are truly concerning our up and coming generations, and I believe that resonating with them will get them to vote. We're fortunate in the state of Washington to have entirely vote by mail. So I talk to candidates around the country, and there's a term called the couch to vote, and it's people that won't get off their couch to go out to the polls and vote. And I'm fortunate here to say, hey, I just need you to get from the couch to your mail, and you can sit on the couch while you fill out your ballot, but I just need you to fill it out. So I am fortunate in that part of it, but we will be doing voter registration drives. We're going to do outreach at high schools for those seniors that are going to be hitting 18 by voting day. It's it's just one of those things that I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, I know exactly. It's a hard thing, and that's why it's been a resonating theme since Rock the Vote came out in the 90s, when MTV did that, and they still do it. It's still a disparity of getting younger generations to get involved in the civic process. So hopefully being honest and letting them see that regular people are stepping up to do the job will motivate them. I guess that's more my hope.
Yeah, no, and I agree. It is tough trying to talk to the younger generation now. Just all the social media, their attention is every which way, and but I think being authentic and talking the way you are and just saying, hey, it's going to be tough, but I'm going to still be out there. And I think that authenticity is what's going to resonate with the younger generation. I think that they're more focused on the person or the people, and they hone in on their characteristics. And if the whole thing with like cancel culture, they see the littlest thing of either not being authentic or being a hypocrite, they're gonna pounce on you regardless of how they do it, but just being authentic and saying, hey, I want to reach you, I want to talk to you, I think is what needs to be said. Nothing is easy, and just saying, hey, this is something that's going to benefit you. We're talking about climate change, things like that. The issues that the younger generation is talking about, they are talking about climate change. They are talking about healthcare. They may not necessarily be talking about the economy or the housing market, which they probably will be soon, sooner than later. But as long as you're talking to the issues that they are, energized about, I think is the first step in getting younger people energized about being, for local elections and specifically your campaign. So I commend you on that. I commend you on that. All right, we're going to move right along to the second question. Kind of a tough question with everything that's going on right now, but we'll just get right into it. The Second Amendment is an issue on your platform. Can you explain to your voters why you support the Second Amendment and how it could help the people of Washington State?
Well, I support the Second Amendment. It's in black and white in the Bill of Rights that's attached to the Constitution. I also believe in government's ability to place certain restrictions on that, and that's been upheld by the United States Supreme Court in multiple, municipality, statewide, national laws that have been placed. People can't go. I'm gonna pull that back. You can go buy a bazooka if you choose to go get a. Sorry, my 3-year-old came sprinting in. You can buy a bazooka if you get a certain type of license and go through certain levels of insurance and everything else. You can get a fully automatic. Yes, you can get those things, but in general, the people who are saying, "Oh, shall not be infringed," you can't get a bazooka without it being registered and everything else. I believe that putting in common sense gun reforms as far as waiting periods, extensive background checks, limiting certain weapons. And yes, for all you people, I am talking about semi-automatic light rifles that are specifically designed for combat versus, hunting. And yes, I understand you can take an M4 and go out and shoot a deer with it. I'm not questioning that, but everyone knows that's not what it was designed for. It was designed for war zone situations and for policing actions, for taking down multiple targets in a short amount of time. And unfortunately, that is a thing that while many people legally own them, have them, and they are fine, we find in these mass shootings, they're using those weapons because that's what they're designed to do. So putting restrictions on the future sale of those, the exchange of them from one person to another, I believe is common and fair, and I believe the Supreme Court would uphold that.
We definitely need to have better restrictions and things like that. I'm tired of seeing, all these shootings. I was just a couple weeks ago, I reported about a shooting in Iowa. Unfortunately, and one of the people, unfortunately, one of the young kids didn't even go to the school. And so it's unfortunate that, right before the pandemic, this is what we were worrying about. This is what was happening across the country, and then the pandemic hit and it started to die down a little bit because, restrictions, people couldn't go anywhere. But now that things are starting to open up again, and this is something that is starting to happen again, we definitely need to have better gun laws, common sense gun laws. Everything you said is I didn't know you even could buy a bazooka and let alone had to register for one. Like that's wild. Like, why do you need a bazooka for? What are you going to do with it? Like, there's no situation that I can think of that would cause for you to need a bazooka to that's crazy to me. But anyway, that's where we're at. And because this is where we're at, we need to have sensible gun laws. Because unfortunately, not all, some people just they a little out there a little bit, But no, I agree with you on that. But we're going to be moving right along. My second question for you, on your platform, you have the quote, of all the injustices, a lack of access to healthcare is inhumane. And that is a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King. What makes your take on healthcare better than your opponent, and how will it affect the people of Washington State? Should healthcare be tied to employment? I mean, that is kind of a mouthful right there.
I believe that healthcare should be treated as a right. And I see people saying all the time, healthcare is a right. No, currently it is not. And that's the problem, is we need to treat it as though it is a right. And right now, there's healthcare deserts and disparities depending upon what part of town you live in, what town you live in versus what town I live in. And that's what Dr. King was talking about was, that minorities are adversely less likely to have healthcare coverage. And when you get a population center of minorities, because there's less likely they have coverage, there's going to be less healthcare availability in that general area. And that is one of the greatest injustices of them all. We have to admit there's systemic racism in the past of the healthcare industry, and we have to work to move past it. And all these things, people want to talk about CRT or this, and it's just admitting what was messed up yesterday. It doesn't mean we have to keep messing it up. It just means we have to look at it, look in the mirror and say, yes, that happened, and it happened because, and let's do better, and let's go forward and not keep doing that. So, that's why that quote resonates with me so much, is I honestly have never had to deal with that personally. I had a health center down the road, and when I needed a doctor, I went, but I am aware of the problems and I do see them, and that is a massive injustice. So let's all decide to say, yep, there's a problem, and then we can start fixing it.
I agree. Again, like I said at the top of the show, you see a problem, you're willing to do what it takes to fix that problem. And healthcare right now is, everybody needs it. Of course, we got a global pandemic going on. Unfortunately, we lost so many of our fellow Americans at the beginning. Part of that was because of healthcare, not being able to access it, not being able to go to the doctor. And let's take this crazy global pandemic out of it. Let's just look a couple years ago. How many people didn't have healthcare before the Affordable Care Act came? A whole heap of people, and so healthcare is very, very important from then till now, and especially now and moving forward. So thank you for that. We're going to be moving right along to my third question. Right now, a number of southern states are trying or already passed laws or making it a criminal to have an abortion. Why do you support pro-choice, and how does that help the ladies of Washington State or the women of Washington State?
Well, this is one of the most disgusting, pathetic things that I've ever seen come out of politics, is these vigilante sue them laws because they can't find a way around the Constitution or Supreme Court rulings. And they're like, oh, we'll make it a civil thing where Joe can sue Susan. And it's revolting. I believe when it comes to reproductive, safe, legal, accessible, all day long. That's it. Safe, legal, accessible. It's up to the person and their doctor. It's that's it. And, you know, these laws are just so disgusting. I can't even imagine the video out of, I believe it was Tennessee, the legislature, where the person was defending the law and they were going to go to get to a floor vote. And she was asked, so does the rapist's brother and parents have a right to sue the rape victim if, you know, if the victim has an abortion? And they gamed it for about 45 seconds trying to, and then they went back to no, just answer the question. And she said, well, the way the law is written, yes, they would have a right. So you have somebody that could, like, that makes no sense at all. Not that any other part of the law makes sense, but then that it goes to that level that, oh, you know, my son raped you and you aborted the child. Now I'm going to sue you. Like I cannot even fathom. like the law is unfathomable as it is. But that just little extra sprinkle on the top of, wait, you thought Texas had their law written. Look at what we can do. It's absolutely disgusting. It is entirely a play to control people. It is entirely a first step to chip away at control, you know, and this is from the group that runs around yelling about freedom every day. And this is purely to control people. It's to tell them what they can and cannot do. And so, yeah, safe, legal, accessible reproductive care. The only thing I would want to legislate is to say that it has to be all three of those: safe, legal, and accessible. And accessible means it has to be in people's regions, that it can't be, you know, a reproductive care desert.
And my take on that, and I agree with everything you said. You know, it's a lady's body, it's her right, you know, and part of my argument is, yes, you know, what if she was in, you know, sexually assaulted, things like that. And those situations are very, very, very important. But my thing is, let's make it practical. What if she doesn't have the necessary resources? What if she doesn't have access to a good job in order to take care of that kid? Let's just say it's, you know, unplanned pregnancy, right? Why can't it be in a situation to where, you know what, I can't unfortunately take care of this kid. Why? Because I don't have my stuff together. You know, how come we can't also look at it through that lens? You know, if we can, yes, that you know, sexual assault happens.
I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you and say, because it shouldn't get that far, because she should have the options to deal with it herself. These other things are immaterial. They are ways to control another person by saying, oh, well, you fit into this factor, so yes, it's okay, but you don't, so it's not. No, it's a matter of safe, legal, accessible reproductive care. It's body autonomy. It's none of anyone else's business. And that's my problem, is go out to the biggest beach you find and draw no abortion, every baby gets aborted, and wander on that beach and tell me where the line on the sand is. Where does the line go? I can't put the line there. I could put it there for my own family, but I can't put it there for Aaron's family. So I'm just saying that when we go down this rabbit hole of these different, oh, well, in this situation, no, we can't do that. And that is, I have gotten people very mad at me over a fact of one of the questions in trying to get an endorsement was, do you support that a minor has to get parental permission in order to receive reproductive care? And I said, no. And people are like, well, what about it's your daughter? What your daughter is pregnant, and she, my daughter's 11 now, but you're 2 years from now, your daughter's 13. Wouldn't you? And I'm like, well, I would appreciate that my daughter told me, and for me to take her to help her get all the care she needs. But there are people that their lives would be put in danger if they had to tell their parent. So no, that removes the line. Just because what I would like to have happen in my life for my family does not make that the boundary for what I believe every other family and person should have to live within. And so, no, and that's my guiding principle on this thing is, oh, look, there's an exception, so the line has to be moved past the exception. And it just goes back to safe, legal, accessible, that professionals are trained and available to help a person with their reproductive care, and all the other excuses or discussions need to be removed.
No, I agree. You couldn't have said it any better. So we're going to move right along to my last question. Excuse me. What are some of the differences that make you a better choice for office than your opponent? And once in office, what will be one of the first things that you tackle?
Okay, well, you say my opponent. We are in Washington, so we have top 2 primaries. So everyone, the incumbent, everyone challenging her to the right, myself, anybody else that's trying to go from the left, we're all in this race together. The top 2 vote getters in August go on to go head to head in November. So what makes me better than all my competition is a thing I have to tackle with, because I have to be in 1 or 2 in August in order to go on. My biggest thing is accessibility, and that I'm happy to say I don't know when I don't have an answer, and hey, I need to look into that more. But that, I directly respond. I'm doing voter outreach. I'm not doing dialing for dollars calls, as it's, stated in, campaigning. No, I'm doing voter outreach. And a lot of those people are choosing to donate. And that's definitely essential to funding a campaign. But I am doing voter outreach. I am interacting with voters from here and across the country all the time on Twitter, Facebook. I am actually running on an accessible platform, and I intend to keep that going. There is a bot that tweets every 2 hours about the last time the representative for our area held an in-person town hall. And I want to say I saw it yesterday when I was scrolling through my timeline. It's something like 1,893 days, which equates to almost 5 years, or almost 6 years, since our representative has stood up in a public forum and directly taken questions and given responses. And that's unacceptable. It's just entirely unacceptable. And so I am running saying, hey, I'm accessible now, and I'll continue to be inaccessible. And if I become non-accessible, you guys then need to vote me out. Like, no, you have to be able to reach your representative. And I understand I will get busier and I won't be able to respond to every single message in a split second. I won't be able to have notifications on all the time. But the overall general message will be, I will remain accessible, and I will have a staff at that point that can help, or at least say, hey, Aaron, I hear you. Now let me get to Brent, and he'll get back to you, or I will, but you'll get an honest response. And so I just believe that's in the job title. Representative. You can't represent somebody you don't talk to.
And that's what it is. Being able to, and I think that not having that access has stopped a lot of people from participating in the political process, going out to vote. Well, why am I going to vote for someone that I can't talk to? It's like you said, the dude almost 6 years not having a town meeting. How are you as someone in that position going to help the community if you don't know what's wrong? What is that saying? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. How are you going to feed the people the issues that's going to make them better if you're not talking to them, if you're not understanding, as small as, hey, we got a couple potholes on my street. Can you do something to fix that, to the big issues? If you can't be there to talk with someone, again, when they have small issues, how are you going to help when jobs are starting to leave the community? How are you going to help when, like you said, no one has access to healthcare? How are you going to fix those issues if you're not talking to the people who have those issues? If you're not listening, if you're not understanding what's going on with your delegates, the people in your city, how are you going to help them? Again, I'm tired of having the billionaire people in office. And I think that's part of the problem. One, they have billions of dollars, so they don't understand the struggles that the people go through. And then on top of that, if you're not making yourself present, if you're not being able to see your constituents and hear their issues, how are you serving them? What are you really doing in office? And so for you to say, part of one of the main things is having that access, I think can be a good example for everybody, anybody running for office. Being accessible is important. Being able to be heard is important. And if you're willing to take that initiative to say, hey, I am here. I want to listen to you. I want to know what the issues are, so I can then, present it to the congressional body or other people to say, hey, this is what's going on. And if this is happening in my city, I know this is happening in yours. So let's come together, figure out a bill, policy, something that we can do, to help these people whatever the issue may be. Again, potholes, economy, jobs. So thank you. I love the fact that you want to be accessible. We definitely need to hear that more from other politicians. So thank you for answering those tough questions. I know they were, you had your thinking cap on. I appreciate that. So we're just going to move right along. We're going to switch it up a little bit. I got 3 questions for you. Just they're fun. This one, I'm visual. I see you got a Nintendo, old school Nintendo in the background.
That is Legos.
That's Legos? That's a Lego Nintendo right there? Wow, that is crazy. What? I have never seen that before. Wow, Legos is making videos? Like, that's crazy. Well, despite it being Lego, if you can remember, what is your favorite video game? And it doesn't matter, if it's Nintendo, Super NES. If you can remember, what is your favorite video game?
That is a toss-up to just the original Super Mario World on the Super NES. Or else, this isn't a single game. but and it ties into that is the Lego video games like Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Star Wars, Lego Jurassic World that I play with my kids. Those games are just so hysterical. And if you haven't ever played one, like they literally have slapstick comedy in the game, in the way the gameplay is. And so, I used to buy every new game system just after it came out, not in the craze of launch day, but like as soon as like you could get one on the shelf, I would get one, and they just collected dust. I'm not a sit down and go gaming person, but since my kids they have Nintendo Switches, and we've played a lot of those games. And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have a 10-year-old son. He has a Nintendo Switch, and we have an Xbox. That's mine. I love Xbox. But anyway, we have a lot of the Nintendo Lego games, and we have a blast. I'm a big Star Wars fan. That's for everybody out there. And a new Star Wars game, Lego Star Wars game, is coming out April 1st. And I'm not a pre-order type person, but that is definitely on my list to play. We have maybe 8 to 10 different Lego games. So I'm a big fan. I'm still shocked that's a Lego. That's crazy. I've never seen that before. All right. Anyway, moving right along. Oh. Are you serious? That's Yo, that is wild. Oh, I'm gonna have to get one of those. That's crazy. All right. Moving right along. My second question. When you have free time, what are some of the things you like to do? And I know we just talked about some video games, but other than that, what would you like to do on your downtime?
It's been a year since I've known what that was. But I've always been a bit of a workaholic. But otherwise, I love cars. I love working on cars.
Nice.
I love working on my own car, except for right now, it doesn't want to cooperate, and so I'm mad at it. So it's spent the last 6 months while I've been here working via Zoom and phone calls, not getting fixed. So I need to get back at that. But I'm a dad. I'm stay-at-home dad with my 3-year-old. I'm running a campaign, so it's either I'm doing stuff with the kids or whatnot here, or I'm campaigning. So really, I'm not joking when I say I don't know what free time is, because doing what I'm doing is so much more than a full-time job. But it was setting up for vacations in the manner of going camping. We like going kind of glamping camping, not like backpacking, but going and setting up the outdoor kitchen and the pop-ups and the camper and just being outside and riding bikes. My wife, like myself, is a bit of a workaholic, and so we kind of have to get spaced away a little bit in order to really kind of recreate. But we're going to the beach over my birthday week this year, and I will be doing some work while so there will be work time each day and whatnot, but we are also going to just kind of go do the beach stuff. So it's kind of a hard one for me. I'm kind of bland on that.
No, I used to live in Seattle in the early 90s. I miss it. I love it. The outdoors when it's nice. Oh, gorgeous. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
We used to go hiking a lot, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier. So I love it. I miss camping. I miss Seattle. You're a lucky guy, man. Oh, Seattle, the state, Washington, beautiful, gorgeous. All right, moving right along. All right, we talked about video games. We talked about the lack of free time that you have because you're such a busy individual, which is awesome, by the way. You know, don't get it wrong. That's you know, as a man, we got to work, we got to provide. You know, so kudos to you. But what is your favorite place to eat? When you're out on the town, where do you like to eat at? You know, what's your favorite restaurant or your favorite type of food? I'm a foodie. I love to eat. I'm fat. I'm sorry. But what's your favorite restaurant or what's your favorite dish?
My favorite type of restaurant would be either a good steakhouse. I love steaks.
Yes.
But other than that, and being though it's St. Patrick's Day and it just popped into my head, Irish pubs in New York City. All the different Irish pubs and getting a Reuben sandwich and a, you know, whatever. Just like, yeah, no, that just shot into my head because, like, yeah, that, you know, so in my former job where I was project manager, I was traveling all over the world, but we would, you could almost always anywhere find an Irish pub, you know, somewhere a decently rated one. And just going into one of those restaurants with all the dark wood and the everything else.
Right.
And, you know, I don't drink Guinness. I drink light beer. I'm a pansy like that. But, you know, where they've got the Jameson and the Guinness signs everywhere. And it's like, yeah, that you know, St. Patrick's Day, I got to go with a good Irish pub that has a good Reuben sandwich.
Nice. I dig it. I do. Oh, love it. Okay, last one. You know, we talked about video games, you know, the lack of free time, your favorite food, restaurant type thing. We're going to end it on this question. I personally am a filmmaker. I love movies, watched all the movies. I think some of the best movies came out in the 80s, early 90s. So with that being said, what is one of your favorite movies from any era, any genre? What movies do you want to see, or the genre type of movies do you like?
Probably sappy romantic comedies. Like
Nice.
really like The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock and like you know, Sweet Home Alabama, like those things that you can totally just, you know the movie poster, so you know they're going to get together in the end, you know there's going to be some whatever in the middle, there's going to be some laughing, and you can actually just like watch it. You don't have to think about it. It's not mentally taxing. It's not I'm a details person. So you get into like movies that have heavy CGI stuff and whatever, and I can't watch because I'm looking around for issues and glitches and like just a really good romantic comedy with Ryan Reynolds or Reese Witherspoon. Like, oh yeah, that's something you can just plop on the couch and you're like, yep, okay, this is just going to be funny, and I'm not worried about it lining up with historical accuracy or like this is just for whatever. And with that, I have to say that the recent movie Free Guy, if you haven't seen it with Ryan Reynolds, is absolutely hysterical and is absolutely everything of that. With it's a romantic comedy with a little more action and CGI stuff, but oh my god, that movie is hysterical, and I can turn that on and just veg and just, you know, or be able to look at it on my phone and look at fun times.
No, and it's funny, I've been wanting to see that. I do have a Disney Plus account, so it's free on there. So I'm gonna definitely have to check it out. Thank you for that recommendation. There it is, Free Guy. I am a big Ryan Reynolds fan. He's definitely hilarious. So no, that is a great recommendation. Thank you, everybody. We are getting down to the last little bit of this wonderful interview with Brent Hennrich coming out of Washington State, excuse me. We've talked about a lot of things tonight, some good stuff, kind of heavy stuff, a lot of questions. But with everything that we talked about this evening, and whether we got a chance to talk about it or not, what is one of the things that you want your potential voters to take away from tonight? And again, it could be something we talked about or something we didn't. What is that one thing you want them to, again, walk away with tonight?
The number one thing that I want them to walk away with is for them to know that I truly care and I truly want to hear from them and want to represent them. That I'm not an expert on everything. I don't claim to be. I have a good compass and able to find my way through things, but that I need to hear from constituents to do what's in their best interests, and that I want to hear from them so that I can help make decisions that are better for the overall here. A saying I use is do more good more often for more people. That's the goal. Okay, I'm sorry I wasn't able to help you, but I helped this group of people. Now let's see how we help the group, and let's just keep helping and not saying, oh, well, that didn't help 100% of the people, so we can't do it. No, let's help do more good more often for more people and go forward, because that's where, I heard a thing the other day that said, and I'm going to ask you a question. What is the number one best reason to make your bed in the morning?
Well, for me, I make my bed every morning. I like to come home and see a made bed. It's just, even if the room is dirty, seeing a made bed kind of like dampens the room a little bit, because it's like, okay, yeah, I may have clothes there, but at least because the bed's the biggest thing in the room, But that's just me. Well, I'm weird like that.
Psychologically, it's something that has been proven that if it's something you do every morning, you start your morning with an accomplishment. You've done something. It's a task, and you've completed it. And then you go on from there. And so it's kind of one of those things like that sets you off on the right tone. And so doing more good for more people more often, it will, when you do that, and then you do that, it builds towards going forward and helping people. And so that's what matters to me.
Awesome. Is there any you have a website or social medias people can reach out to?
I do. My website is my initials, so BH, the number 4C.com. I am at B Hennrich on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Search Brent Hennrich for Congress. I think the actual shortened is Brent Hennrich for WA, but you can find it. It's Brent Hennrich for Washington on Facebook and Instagram. So we're on all the social media platforms. We even went so far as my campaign manager went trudging over to Gab and Telegram and everything else and secured my name there to make sure somebody didn't impersonate me over on the on the other side. It's like we have those. We don't post over there, but we exist. So yeah, we're on all the social media platforms, and we're available. You can search us in Act Blue, or you can simply go to BH, the number 4C.win, and that'll take you directly to my Act Blue donation page. And, people want money out of politics, but that means I have to ask for money because we can't change the rules where we are. We got to get there. I definitely want legislation to go through to end Citizens United, but again, I can't legislate something from the outside. So, people want money out of politics. They still got to help people like myself get there, and that takes contributions. And once we, working with Lauren Hubbard and Anne Marie Danimus and, people all over the country, that we all want these things. But if we don't get elected, it's going to be the same old, same old. We want to do things to help and end these other policies, but we got to get there to do it.
I agree. So everybody, I'll make sure to have links to all his websites, social medias, his campaign website where you guys can learn more. He has such a big platform, a lot of issues that he's tackling. I couldn't get to all the different questions about the different issues, but he wants to help. He's here for us. He understands. He gets it. So please definitely check him out if you can. Donate. Again, I'll make sure to have all his links where you guys can check him out. Again, thank you, Mr. Hennrich, for taking a couple moments out of your busy schedule. I know you don't have any free time. Please get some free time.
I will try.
Even if it's an hour, just get some quick free time. But thank you again for joining us this evening, talking with us, answering our questions. Definitely good luck to you in your campaign. We'll still be here supporting you. So if you want to come back, you have some new information, new things that you want to talk about, you're more than welcome to come back and speak with us. But with that being said, everybody out there, please like, share, subscribe, share this video to everybody in the state of Washington. Everybody out there in the state of Washington that knows me, y'all know what time it is, man. This gentleman right here is for you guys. Please share this video. Again, like, share, subscribe. With that being said, y'all have a wonderful night. You as well, Mr. Brent Hennrich, have a good night and a good weekend. And we'll see you guys all next week. It'll be a regular show. We'll have some information, quick news. We might have a topic to talk about. But tune in next week. Have a good rest of the day, week, and weekend. And I'm out. Peace. Have a good night, sir.